I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about Dana White says Stephen Wonderboy Thompson turned down the UFC's offer for him to fight Ian Garry next. UFC President Dana White claims Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has already shunned a potential fight against Ian Machado Garry. Garry was in action this past Saturday night, August 19, 2023, on the UFC 292 main card. He shared the octagon with Neil Magny inside the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. This was a very dominating performance from Garry, who had Neil Magny hobbling due to leg kicks. The bout went all 3 rounds, and the future Ian Garry took a clear unanimous decision victory. After the fight, Ian Garry called for a showdown with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Garry said he wants to prove he is the best striker in the welterweight division. And he feels beating Wonderboy would prove that. Okay. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson turns down Ian Machado Garry. It appears Garry won't be getting his wish for a bout with Wonderboy Thompson. During the UFC 292 post-fight press conference, Dana White claimed that Wonderboy had no interest in fighting Garry. Wonderboy turned the fight down tonight. White said, "Listen, we make fights, man. That's what we do." Thompson became a hot topic following the UFC 291 weigh-ins. Thompson made weight for his UFC welterweight fight against Michel Pereira, but Pereira did not. And then Wonderboy Thompson, quote, refused to take the fight. Dana White later confirmed that Wonderboy Thompson wouldn't be paid his show money, but Wonderboy will be compensated for camp. I've never heard that one before. As far as Garry goes, White said he thinks Neil Magny was a great learning experience for Ian Machado Garry. Ian is very confident, White said, when he looks back at the tape tonight and watches how a crafty veteran like Neil Magny got to the end of the 3rd round. I think he'll learn a lot from this fight. The UFC boss mentioned that he hopes to get Garry on the UFC 295 card in New York City at Madison Square Garden. White mentioned it would be the last stop before Garry headlines a show in Dublin, Ireland. Well, yeah, I mean, I did, even though I am a MMA casual, I did watch the UFC 295 post-fight press conference with Dana White. I didn't really understand the question because it wasn't really followed up. It was something about, Ian Garry calling out Wonderboy, and then Dana White basically said that Wonderboy turned down the fight tonight. So I don't know if that was, maybe things got lost in translation there. Like I said, no reporter followed up on the question. I don't know if Dana White was saying that they offered Wonderboy to fight Ian Machado Garry tonight. Was that what he was saying? Because to me, it seems kind of weird. Like if the UFC, after Ian Machado Garry won, the UFC just randomly called Wonderboy Thompson on the same night and offered him a fight versus Wonderboy. Dana White famously says we don't make fights at post-fight press conferences and things like that. We wait until Tuesday of next week. That's when we start getting into the fight mode. So I don't know if it kind of got lost in translation. If Dana White was saying because Wonderboy fight versus Michel Pereira was canceled, right? So I'm wondering maybe if they said, hey, Wonderboy, you could fight Ian Machado Garry tonight, a few weeks ago. And that's what Dana White was saying. Or was he saying that, after Ian Machado Garry won and called out Wonderboy Thompson, the UFC contacted Wonderboy Thompson last night, on the same night, right after Ian Machado Garry won and offered him a fight. And that's what Wonderboy turned down. So I think it kind of got lost in translation. I don't know if Wonderboy turned down the fight to fight in Boston versus Ian Machado Gatti, or if Wonder Boy turned down like a future fight with Ian Machado Gatti. Like I said, it wasn't followed up. No reporter asked like a follow-up question on who Wonder Boy is going to fight next. No one asked anything about too many questions about the welterweight division. No one asked about Leon Edwards versus Kobe Covington. So the welterweight division has been pretty quiet. No one asked about Kamaru Usman. Hamzat Chimaev has moved up to the middleweight division. So there's a lot of questions going on with the welterweight division. Shakov Rakhmonov, maybe the UFC is looking at putting Shakov Rakhmonov versus Wonderboy Thompson, something like that. There's a lot of holes. Bilal Muhammad, what's happening with him? Like I said, right now the UFC has been pretty quiet on the entire welterweight division, but we will see. Dana White did say that they're looking at getting Ian Machado Gatti in Madison Square Garden. That will be UFC 295, headlined by UFC heavyweight champion John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. That card only has one fight on that card right now. UFC 295 in Madison Square Garden, Jones versus Stipe Miocic. So I would not be surprised if you see a fight with Ian Machado Gatti versus Wonderboy Thompson, right? Another thing I want to say, it seems like Wonderboy Thompson has been getting a lot of heat since he, quote-unquote, turned down a fight versus Michel Pereira. Michel Pereira came in overweight, and then Wonderboy Thompson was like, well, I'm not going to take this fight versus an opponent who came in overweight. And now, he kind of got dragged there, and now it seems like people are going to drag him again because it sounds like he turned down a fight versus Ian Machado Gatti. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm expecting Ian Machado Gatti versus Wonderboy Thompson in MSG. It seems like it makes the most sense for everybody, right? Like that seems like that's what's going to happen. Like I said, I feel like this quote kind of got misconstrued. I don't know if Dana White was saying that Wonderboy Thompson turned down the opportunity to fight at UFC 292 in Boston, or is he saying that UFC contacted him after Ian Machado Gatti won last night and offered Wonderboy versus Ian Machado Gatti in a future fight in MSG, and Wonderboy turned that fight down too? But we'll see. Let me know what you think about this story. I'm Jason, UFC. Who do you want to see Ian Machado Gatti fight next? There's a lot of opponents. Bilal Muhammad, Vicente Luque. I don't know if he's going to fight Shakov Rakhmonov, Kamaru Usman. There's a lot of opponents in the welterweight division for Ian Machado Gatti to fight, and I would expect Ian Machado Gatti to be on the MSG card, UFC 295 in New York City. I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about UFC President Dana White says Stephen Wonderboy Thompson turned down the UFC's offer to have him fight Ian Machado Gatti next. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.